Okay, today is June 5th, 2025. Welcome to the weekly workgroup serving benchmark tools link. Um, yeah, if you have any topics, feel free to add those. We can get started with our milestone review. So we 010 milestone. Let me share this tab. Let's start here. Yeah, so we completed all the items we had here. Couple of issues that we noticed before we could release. One was this one, where the ShareGPT dataset, when we use it, was hard-coded to generate only 30 tokens output. Ideally, we want to kind of follow the distribution that is in the dataset for how many output tokens we want to generate. So I pushed a change which does that. So now we basically take the actual completion along with the prompt and then use that to decide how many tokens we want to generate, right, by tokenizing it. So this change is added. We did encounter one other issue, which was while doing some load testing, we ran into a problem where the load generator was hanging after Jason's multi-process change. Jason, if you want to provide an update on this.
Yeah, so it was looking like on slower machines, it runs into a race condition where the request queue join in the main load gen process kind of starves out the other processes from actually finalizing their requests. So I guess two components of this is that as a worker processes requests, it will end up receiving an end stage status, at which case it will await all tasks that have been assigned to it. And then at the same time, the main load gen process has placed everything into the request queue and needs to wait for the request queue to hit size 0 and then join the request queue to ensure that it was empty and completed and then can continue. The ordering of that previously, I believe that the join internally is a little bit heavy hitting and can basically block all the other processes from finishing the work. So with this reorder, it seems as though it's not going to hang.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, I'll review this after the meeting. If others are interested, please take a look as well. And yeah, with the multi-process load gen, we're able to generate much higher QPS. Once we fix this, I think we should be in a good spot to start the release. So I'll validate this fix and then maybe kick off the release so we can have something published later this afternoon. Any other questions on that one? And in terms of the other things that we added, I think we have the Docker image that is being published. Right now, we are using the Quay registry for that. Yeah, and Brendan got the change for report generation related fixes and streaming API support. I think Aishwarya got the Prometheus metric multi-stage change in. So I was able to push the shared prefix dataset one. We even got the basic testing added. We still need to add more. But yeah, overall, I think we have, it's in a pretty good place. last couple of days, I've been mainly running some different tests to make sure things are looking good. This is one of the things we uncovered. So once this is done, I think we should be good to cut the rates. Cool. Going back here, there are no questions there. And the next one I wanted to briefly touch on is how we can release a Python package for our library. So currently, we yeah, the main thing we need to figure out is like Kubernetes has seem to have an account, but we need to see if we could use that to automate like publishing Python packages. I don't know if anyone has looked into that before, or if anyone wants to take this up and see how we could get this done. Any volunteers for this one? Mainly once we cut the release, it should be good to get the package published. Temporarily, we could also use another account for now in PyPy and then see how we could do it as part of the Kubernetes account going forward. Okay, I'll create an issue for this, and then someone has time, let me know. If not, I can probably look into it sometime next week as well. Cool. So the next thing I wanted to cover is the new issues that came in and any recently merged items. So we now have a needs triage flag that gets added automatically. Let's go from the bottom. Let me share this one here. Yeah, so you can filter by the things that we need to triage. So you could do this weekly going forward. I think Jason, you added this one. Do you want to expand on it?
Yeah. So right now, I think this probably applies to the other data gens as well. But in distribution now, I believe you have to specify a total number of requests. That total number needs to be greater than the number of requests you intend to send over all stages, because we're just yielding via the data gen. And when you overrun it, you will hit this error. So this matters more for like longer runs with many requests. I think we'd like to resample.
Yeah, makes sense. I think for the random data gen and the synthetic one, I'm sort of like going through the loop again to generate more. But ShareGPT, I think it would be good to fix that. And also the actual input output distribution support for an existing data set is something we need to look into more.
I think it might hit that same issue with total count though, because it's like just accessing the index of the generated distribution. But if you fix that, then random gen and synthetic are good too.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, I think this makes sense to address. So I'll remove needs triage and probably add a good first issue if someone wants to look into this. Yeah, and if you have any guidance on the fix itself, if you can add a line, JSON in here on what we exactly want the fix to be, so someone can pick this up who might not have as much context.
A while back, I had a similar fix in the AI hypercomputer script. I'll also link that.
Okay, yeah, that would be good. All right, so looking at the other one, streaming request support for chat API. Yeah, this would be good to add since it's currently only in the completions one. So one question I had around this one is like, how do we make sure we use the corresponding chat template, right? Because that seems to be a requirement now. If you're using VLLM, and probably other servers will have that too. Yeah, people have any thoughts? So far, how have people been testing with the specific chat template? Is it mainly setting VLLM up with the right one and our user and the context once from the API works with the one you have set up? Just wanted to check if anyone ran into issues with it.
Yeah, so far I've been testing exclusively completions. I can't speak to anyone else.
Yeah. Yeah, the main thing I think is, at least on VLLM, the model server expects the chat template for the corresponding model you are running, right? So if that is not set correctly, then this can fail. So maybe we might want to provide some guidance around that.
So usually model artifacts have the template, right? So it picks up from there. Is that right?
So the template, not all models have, for example, in Hugging Face, right?
Right.
So it's also a little challenging to find the right one to set. But yeah, there are some templates for specific models. I think Llama, Falcon, and a few of those have. So yeah, it's a little bit more tricky, but maybe we can provide some guidance on how people can get the template to set it up, or at least mention that somewhere in the documentation.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe I'll call that out and we can create a separate issue for too. Cool. For this one, Brendan, do you want to take this up as well? Anything specific that would be difficult to do with the chat API?
I don't believe so. I can pick this up and investigate.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think we need it right away, but it would be good to look to add this. I'll assign it to you for now.
I have a question. The template that we were talking about, so that's something the LLM expects, right? Would the data set, is the data set expected to have data in that format, or we would like be adding whatever tags or whatever limiters are required as per the template?
Yeah, so that's something I want to verify as well. right? Does the completions API always? I believe like the chat API always takes it in the specific format, so we don't have to do anything on our side to match with the template. But I'm not sure. We might need to validate that.
So the way it works is the chat completions endpoint is essentially a Jinja 2 template, and when you
Okay.
enter context, it applies that template over the context you entered. If you just use the normal completion endpoint and give it the exact same context, it's equivalent to the model. So if you were to take that template, apply it client side, and then send it to the normal completion endpoint, it's the same as using the chat endpoint. So generally, just for the sake of control from the benchmark side, I don't know with inference perf, but we generally use just the completion endpoint. And if we need to test prompts of some sort, we just send them as the context as part of our data set.
Okay, makes sense. So essentially, we would need to apply the template for the corresponding model on the benchmarking client too, if we need to get it to work as expected, right?
Only if your goal is to emulate the chat completion. If you're using chat completion, then you don't. If you are using completion, and you want to emulate that, yes.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense too. From benchmarking standpoint, we could also just support completions for now. Cool. Thanks, Sam. That's good to know. The next one here is to migrate to PDM. Sachin, if I remember correctly, you already added support for PDM. Is there any reason to keep the make files? I think we had some discussion around this before.
Yeah, I think it's a question of whether we want to standardize on PDM as to do all this. Same with our GitHub actions and everything. Yeah, just something we need to check. That's all. We can align on if everyone's agreeing with on working with PDM, we can do that.
To be completely honest, they were mostly just for as a convenience for when I first added them in. I'm also not very well versed in PDM, so I'm not generally very opinionated about this. So
yeah, same. I mean, the make files work for now. we can change it if you want. If there's a
exactly, yeah, go nuts with it.
Makes sense. Yeah, anyone has worked with PDM more regularly before, and mainly I'm looking to see how much we're going to get out of it.
I think yeah, go on, Sam.
Okay, I use PDM pretty regularly on a lot of the tooling I develop. The biggest advantage is you get dependency locking at a much finer grain level than normally, if you're just saying greater than this version, which makes testing and reproducibility a lot better. It's also just kind of convenient for doing a lot of the updating your dependency locking and stuff like that.
Makes sense. And Sam, we won't be missing anything that we get with make by moving to PDM, right?
No, I don't think so. It's been a while since I've reviewed the make files for this, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, you'd have to basically redo a couple things, obviously, but it should have all the features you want. It's just like a wrapper around pip or UV that handles extra locking and version management, essentially. So you can actually just use another convenient thing about PDM is if someone doesn't want to install PDM, they can still pip install the package using basically the exact same built backend.
Yeah, also the makefile doesn't have to be replaced. If we can have both. Makefile targets could be PDM scripts.
Makes sense. Okay. Yeah, so I'll add it here to our backlog for now. When someone has some time to look into it more, we can take this up. Cool. So I think those are the new issues that we had. In terms of recently merged ones, I think we had a new contributor add logging and log levels, which is good to see. Has been useful for some of the testing with debug logging that we are doing. And also, yeah, this should incentivize to tag more issues with like more details and for first-time contributors to take up. Cool. So the other ones we already went through as part of the V0.1 milestone. Let me switch over here. Helm charts for deploying. I'm not sure who added this one. Anyone wants to speak to it?
Yeah, I added it. Right now, this would pretty much cover exactly what exists, which is a Kubernetes job that is populated via a config map and kubectl. I think the benefits going down the road for having a Helm chart actually published to a repo is we can use some Helm chart composability to define benchmarking cases and then publish those, and then people can, for example, just like Helm install a benchmarking use case and run it.
Yeah, I think it's a good ticket. So I was working on a Minikube example, and this is very similar. I was using just YAML files to apply, but a Helm chart would be more useful, I guess.
Yeah, I think that makes sense to me. It would simplify creating the config map and job and whatnot if you want to run directly on the cluster with just some configurable parameters. Jason, if you want to create an issue, can get that created and
Yep.
see if we can add that. Cool. I think those are the main topics we had for today. Anyone has any other topics? Cool. If not, we'll see you all next time. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.